Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Bald and Bonkers Show. Join your hosts Christopher Mole and Dakota Franson as they take you on a wild ride through the world of the supernatural, with a humorous twist that'll have you laughing and shaking in your boots at the same time. From ghosts to aliens to cryptids, no topic is off limits on this show. And the best part? You don't have to be a believer to join in on the fun. So grab a drink, kick back, and tune in every weekend for new episodes. And if you want even more of the Bald and Bonkers experience, be sure to subscribe to our Patreon page for exclusive content you won't find anywhere else. Let's get weird. Oh, and for the whiners out there, viewer discretion is advised. There you go, you entitled pricks.
You know that always gets me, that trailer, Dakota. That one that you've done, you entitled pricks.
Was that playing normally for you?
Aye, how?
It was lagging like a motherfucker for me, so that's why I'm thrown off here. But yes, hey, we gotta throw in some sort of humor to call out the fucking idiots out there that are looking to stir up shit.
Oh, look, man, I get it all the time. Because I was off. No, it's because I didn't do my show last week. Somebody messaged me and says, "What did you not do your show for?" And I says, "Well, I had COVID." And I felt absolutely diabolical, and I still do. And they're like, "Oh, but I enjoy your shows, and you should have been doing your show." You know?
Well,
Yeah.
sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, we just have to take a break. You know, Chris uses COVID as his cover story, but really
Yes.
he was getting prosthetic testicles planted in.
How did you find out about that?
Your brother told me.
Really?
He's actually in the chat right now.
Is this live? Is this no pre-recorded?
Yeah, I figure what the fuck. We had a cancellation, so let's go live.
I think it's quite clever.
The entitled pricks.
Honestly, you know, entitled pricks. Look, there's a lot of entitled pricks out there.
Yeah,
And I mean, there's
very
loads
true.
and loads of them out there. And you just need to look today's society. Look the oil protesters. You ever seen the oil protesters, Dakota? How they change. I love the Drew, my brother Drew. He'll see them quite a lot in London. This is what I think is brilliant about them. They'll say, "Oh, you can't use oil, you can't use cars, you can't use buses, you can't use things like that." They'll go and vandalise beautiful artwork, right? By pouring paint over it and stuff like that. But to get to that destination, they drive their car there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hypocritical pricks.
Aye, they are. I mean, I think they are. I'm going to blame my COVID on it. I'm getting away with this tonight. I'm going to say, pain in the absolute arses. That's what I think they're. Oh, there's Stephanie. I nearly called you Stephen there.
He can't get names right and wonders why women get pissed at him.
I bet I called her Stephanie. It's a kind of wee joke. It's a kind of wee joke.
But the number of times I've heard you call her Stephen or...
I can't see your mic tonight. It's just like a black blob.
Yeah, it's kind of blending with how I have my camera set up.
It's sitting at the side of your face. You're kind of like something with Phantom the Opera.
What, you want me to get my mask?
Oh, go on. Oh, have you got a mask? A Phantom the Opera mask? Oh my god, you know why he's got a Phantom the Opera mask, don't you?
Oh. By the way, she extends her condolences. I was talking with her last night.
What, was she thinking about me? Oh, thank you very much. See?
Yeah, oh yeah, she asked how you were doing. Said yeah, he's out on COVID after shagging a sheep.
Look,
you Scots are freaky, man.
See, that's the thing about Dakota, ladies and gentlemen. He was over here and seemingly had a real old time chasing around about the fields.
Speaking of which, I had to ask you something.
What?
I know you're snot out of your brain more than usual right now, but how is calling me Canadian supposed to be an insult?
I knew that would annoy you. See, it has annoyed you. But I brought it up. If that hadn't annoyed you, you would never have brought that up. Right?
No, I was confused as hell. It's like, what?
What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? Make it
It's
lovely
like,
Canadian.
not that,
Eh?
I'm not.
Eh?
I've never actually been to Canada, man.
Oh, Canada. Well, how does it go, the national anthem of Canada? Oh,
How about you
Canada.
ask a resident Canadian? You know.
I don't know any Canadians. The only Canadian I ken's Danny, and he's no in here tonight.
Well, yeah, Brian is on the flex about now, so
Oh, you know. What's this? Our joke's
I
totally fine. Good to see you are feeling better. Thank you very much, Stephanie. See, he's no caught it yet. On you go,
Yeah.
little germs.
actually
go.
for as far as I know, I've been lucky and haven't caught this shit. I've had a couple family members have close encounters, but that's about it. That's probably a bad way to word it on this show.
Okay, something I've always wondered, right? Right, this is something I've always wondered, right? And obviously, I don't ken that much about abductions and stuff like that. Right, say you've got a really bad illness, highly infectious disease, right? Right? And an alien spaceship comes along and decides, I'm going to abduct them. Do you think that they catch it? Or do you think that they've got technology to cure that kind of thing?
Well, I do know they have the technology that would keep them safe as well, but they don't necessarily want to just up and cure random diseases because they're trying to maintain a low profile. Now, if all of a sudden there's a miracle cure just that's popping out of the air whenever strange lights are in the sky, that's going to give something away. But yes, there is technology, but that does kind of bring up the Christopher Columbus with the natives kind of scenario when it comes to alien contact. It's like chances are if they come down, if they are not very... Basically, if they're not paying attention and take into consideration all the microbes that organic life on Earth has gone used to, the simple act of breathing our air, drinking the water, could cause an extermination for an invading species.
Is that not what happened in South America? With the Conquistadors, what do you call them? The Spanish
Yeah, the Spanish
explorers.
conquistadors. That's believed to be actually that's believed to be affiliated with the sink of the Incan Empire, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. What was it that they broke? What was that? What disease was it? Was it the Black Death? What was it? It killed most of them off. But the thing I found this quite interesting because the South Americans and that they were. This is an actual fact, guys, and you can look this up. They were actually near the end of their civilization was starting to crumble. They would sacrifice folk and then dump the bodies into the local wells where people would drink the water.
Mm-hmm.
You know, cities of gold.
We're talking about South America. He's thinking El Dorado.
Ah, that's right. Do you know that'd be an excellent show in itself? We could go to El Dorado and find the city of gold.
El Dorado's underwater.
Fine. Diving cat. Yeah, we could go and swim a bit.
And you can't necessarily get to it unless you got ties with the cartels down there.
Be fine. We'll be fine. We'll take Drew with us. And we can hire a light aircraft and he can fly us in there, you know.
This is how I know he's feeling better. He's up to his usual level of stupid.
I know. What's that, Stephanie? I have had it twice, and the 3 times we are both times I had it was down for over a month. God.
Yeah, I'm aware the Incan had cities of gold, and some of them are actually still believed to be waiting to be rediscovered. Because believe it or not, I'm actually part South American.
Your family has been around quite a lot of places.
I've noticed. And this actually just came up in a recent DNA test. So apparently that mummy Juanita is actually a relative of mine.
See, what's your opinion on the crystal skulls? What is your opinion on that? And that some of
So
us want to ask you,
we're really just pulling shit out of our ass tonight. I got it. All right.
All right, no, we'll talk about
Crystal
the
skulls,
UFO disclosure. But our guest
no,
cancelled on us, so we can't really do anything.
Yeah, I know. And I don't know what the hell's going on. But the crystal skulls are an interesting sort of lore to it. Most of them that have been found are widely believed to be faked or damn good fakes. But at the same time, you got to admit there's ones that have been found where there's been plenty of weird shit that happened, and you can't help but wonder if there's some sort of truth to it.
See, I always found the subject interesting with the crystal skulls. I mean, the one I've seen a few in my lifetime on TV and stuff like that. There was one that was made. They actually made it. They actually used lasers and stuff to make it, and they tried to compare it with the one that was found, right? And the one that was the original one was made better than our technology today. So it makes you wonder, where did they get that from? Get what I mean?
Well,
I mean, if you believe that,
here's the thing. We try to say that, just because we can't do it now, that it's impossible for early civilization to have not found a way. First off, we've gotten very lazy. How accessible technology has become. We have become so reliant, and don't try to argue with me. Just read about some of the shit that people are using Chat GPT for. In fact, somebody just figured out how to get out of a fucking parking ticket using it.
How do you get out a parking ticket using Chat GPT?
Apparently, they used it to write a letter to get the fine dropped, and it fucking worked.
Oh, good God. Honestly.
But still, that backs up my point. We have gotten very lazy. Therefore, we've developed this kind of mentality that with this technology, we're the best. Humans are not the brightest thing in there. It does not take much to confuse a human being. So there could be a legitimate genius out there that figured out how to make those carvings by hand and no signs of it show up. It can be done, but that takes time and patience that does not exist in modern culture. Just look at some of these younger people.
It's like the Great Pyramids. Can you imagine building them in our days society with health and safety? And
actually,
the money. How much would something that's the Great Pyramid, right? I wonder how much something like that would cost to build in today's standards.
You also have to realize they have found slave quarters near the pyramids.
And they need,
they weren't mistreated. And they weren't mistreated. They were actually treated fairly well. Paid for their time, the whole shebang. In fact, their working conditions would be what some legislatures in both the US and UK are trying to get implemented to help with mental health issues.
Aye, but what I'm saying is, right, yes, they had slaves, and yes, they probably had a lot of slaves, right? But can you imagine building a pyramid with today's society? You could do it, but it would cost astronomical. Health and safety,
OSHA violations, all that fun shit.
planning permission.
You wouldn't need some. You would need more than Elon Musk makes in a day, probably, to make that happen.
Yeah. Yeah. You know. So Dakota, you were going to tell us. You were going to tell us tonight about some UFO news. What was it you were going to tell us about? Some secret stuff. Like they were covering stuff up. I've not been.
Yeah, something I touched on last night when I was by myself. Why are the Pentagon locking down the footage of the UFOs getting shot down?
Right, I had a quick look at that. I mean, like, I find that quite suspicious. I mean, like, I think it was a balloon. It was just a fucking balloon, right? I mean, right. Right, wait, just listen out here. Do you not think it's maybe they're doing it deliberately to make folk think, oh, aliens exist. Aliens exist. It's another conspiracy theory to get everybody ready for the day that they release it all.
I don't know. Part of me wants to say no, but at this point, so much shit's in the air, we can't say for sure. When something like that gets classified, it's usually deemed because it's deemed necessary to avoid causing panic. It's a matter of national security, all that fun shit. So, regardless of ET or not, what the hell was found on those things? That's the question.
Maybe it wasn't ET related. Maybe it was something else.
ET or not. ET or not. Because it's widely believed that several of those balloons have been missed for years just because of how the radars are collaborated to avoid detecting small objects. Basically to keep from birds showing up on radar and nukes going off.
Right. Let's look at what would they use them for. Use them to spy on like missile bases and stuff like that, right? But you could also use them to deliver weapons. Like an EMP device. Or you could use them as like a bioweapon.
Easily.
Yeah.
So, you're zombies. Well, when you really think about it, they say the most scientifically accurate zombie apocalypse scenario and kind of escape plan, best guarantee to end it within about 6 months time frame. Basically, grab the best vehicle you can, grab some weapons, head as far north as you can, and set up camp, ride it out. Because so, in that case, if these zombies base they're on the same sorts of principles, or a very legitimate bioweapon could have been released there because that was deemed the safest place to experiment. But then again, the U.S. government kind of fucked up on picking locations to avoid detection before, which is why newspaper companies were the ones to figure out that we were testing nukes in the Nevada desert.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why they're using the balloons. Unless there was... They had intel that the balloons were something else. They knew that there was weapons on board them. I mean, if you look this up, all it would take is one balloon with one nuclear warhead on top in it, high enough altitude. Detonate that above the United States and nothing would work. EMP.
Not as much as you're trying to say. Well, depending on where they hit. The main central power grid, yeah, that would cause some serious damage. But the radius of it would not, from a balloon that size, they would not be able to carry warheads that would have significant damage.
But...
And a lot of people are getting like, why does Dakota know this?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, if the FBI or CIA is watching this right now, please, you know where he stays.
Oh, please. I've been having black SUVs outside my house for months.
See, that's what I don't get either. Why did they do that? Why did they fool you about? I mean, right, you're an alien contactee. It's not as if them sitting outside your house that they're going to learn anything. It's not as if you've got to you see you climbing in your spaceship.
I don't know, man. I've physically seen what looked like tractor beams being pulled up from my house after I've had abduction experiences. It was because I was able to physically realize, wait a sec, that was off, run outside, and I would see him leaving. So technically, just sitting outside and waiting could be a good thing. But here's where it gets suspicious, all right? I'm not trying to sound like some paranoid conspiracy theorist. This has physically happened on a couple of times. Some of you may know that when I go into work, I usually try to get there by 10, 11 o'clock at night to get started. There's been times where I physically left my house, realized there was a black SUV that was just pulling up, realized that I saw them, then sped off. In fact, there was this one that went to hide behind a house that's just down the road from me, literally no more than 50 feet, right? 1,500 feet. That has no back exit behind it. I looked where it pulled into. That fucking thing disappeared. I still want to know how the fuck that happened.
Yeah, they've come.
No sign that they. No. I mean, like no signs of any bushes or anything being driven through. None of that. It just went behind the house and disappeared. Which goes in hand with Men in Black stories.
Maybe it wasn't a car. Maybe it was an optical illusion. Maybe they just wanted you to see the car, and then it disappeared.
Like I said, it goes hand in hand with some Men in Black reports, which is something I haven't really heard a lot of popping up lately.
This is going back a wee. This is maybe going back 10 years to when you were just a young, youthful laddie. But I think this is actually older than that. Can you remember watching a video and it's the cops chasing after the American cops chasing after a car, and they follow it down this one-way road, and the car gets to the fence and just disappears into thin air?
Yeah, I've seen it. I remember that.
Yeah. So is that the same kind of thing?
Who's to say? A lot of people in this field are so eager to try to toss around explanations to jump on the bandwagon, they don't actually bother to try to figure it out how in the first place.
No. There's a lot of folk out there that just talk a load of absolute utter shite, especially with like some shows I was watching the other night about the Galactic Federation getting things wrong with them and stuff like that. And I just don't know anymore.
Yeah, just to put it out there, it's not that as common as these people are trying to say. Yes, there's people that have legitimate contact, and they can back everything. Contact, but they can verify everything that comes out of their mouth, if not right away, within maybe a few months of their statements being come out.
I mean, I'll admit TikTok's good for some stuff, but I've not posted a video in there for ages because I can't be arsed with it. But it's just the some amount of the folk talking about like that hand store and stuff like that, and they're just getting everything absolutely totally wrong. And how, and there's a lot of folk out there that I watched a video the other night there, and I was just sitting, oh my god, this is crazy. Two folk were going on about how the greys were the grey aliens, the ones that have been chasing off Earth, are such great entities and the lovers and they want to look after us. And I was watching it, you know who I'm talking about, Dakota, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But I'm not mentioning it on here. And I was just like, fucking hell, man. I just don't know anymore. It's I think people will just watch a load of stuff and then they'll just join it all together and talk about it.
No, I fully believe that's been the case, and I can name off quite a few people that have fallen for that trap just because they were fed a line of BS that fed into their false sense of hope and power insecurities.
Yeah.
It does not take much. Yes, there are good grays out there that do want to help us. There's also ones that necessarily they're friendly, but they don't mess with humans. And let's say like the Anunnaki, the Eggaroth, they are of gray lineage. But nevertheless, when you actually look into some of the lore and these stories behind a lot of these beings, you also have to take into consideration that a lot of the bad guys were just some of the first victims that fell from.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a part of them that wants to try to help us because they realize don't make our fucking mistakes. But no, don't trust the Grays until you know absolutely for sure they're one of the good ones. And a lot
Yeah.
of them look alike.
But what I'm saying is there's people out there that are just so gullible
I know.
and think that they're friendly, intelligent beings that have came here to save us all.
Oh no, they're
And that's
intelligent. I'm not gonna give
intelligent.
they are. But the way their mind works is comparable to someone who has Asperger's syndrome. And that is just an observation. I'm not trying to dog on autism or anything. But nevertheless, we have got to have some sort of system in place to, some sort of checks and balances to validate anybody. And I'm even saying this to the assholes that think I was lying for the Elena interview. I still think that some of y'all are projecting some of your own personal issues on me.
I did notice that. I did notice that when you were doing the live, there was a few folk that were just being dicks, would be the word, you know?
Yeah. Yep. Show that you didn't actually listen to a damn word that was said without saying anything.
You're going to get the jealous people, that's the thing. You're going to get
I know.
these jealous people. You know?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I
Some
mean,
of them said they practice quantum hypnosis sessions and all this, and I'm just like, really? Nevertheless, there's personal greed, there's gullibility, and unfortunately, too many people are falling for it.
I'll tell you
People
something.
are desperate for answers. Everybody knows that something big is about to happen, but they don't know where to look, and it's just that they become so involved in cliques in this high school mentality
Yeah.
that they fall for the same traps that killed thousands before.
Yep. But
And
just
this is not me fear mongering. This is me stating the facts. We have to acknowledge that nasty shit is going down if we're actually going to be able to fix shit. Like President Biden being a fucking pedophile.
but that'll be
Ooh, I
brushed up.
said it.
That'll be brushed under the carpet. Yeah, I mean,
Well,
you
just
know.
think of everybody's focused on Hunter Biden fooling around with his cousin. People that usually have those types of urges were attacked themselves.
I mean,
Hey, you're usually the one trying to stir up shit here, Chris. I'm just saying.
I'm just sitting here in
Facts
shock.
there.
No, I was going to say it's because I'm still no 100%, but I was just sitting thinking. I mean, they're going after Trump because if that what happened, and they're trying to get him arrested and stuff like that. Whereas they should really be going after President Biden.
People who are corrupted and look to keep their sense of power will look for the slightest infraction on the opposed. Now, January 6th, yeah, that was kind of a fucked up situation. That could have been a hell of a lot worse.
Mm-hmm.
But in this instance, all these political parties are bending the rules into their favor, yet anybody else does the exact same thing, they go to shut it down.
Yeah.
They are purposely breeding hate and division, and we are becoming so stupid and involved in self-image issues, wanting to be accepted, that we fall for it. Learn to stand on your own before pledging allegiance to anyone.
Did you know that the the journalists, some of the journalists that came out about the Joe Biden, have actually been arrested by the FBI?
Mm-hmm.
I was saying, why did you report on this? You better stay quiet about this. I mean, that just shows you the level of corruption. Get what I mean?
And it's not just to isolate that certain agencies as a whole are feeding into the dark side. There's people on the inside who are slowly trying to leak it, but they know if they go against the grain, their jobs on the line, their families are on the line, their lives are on the line. And some of them, most people are not mentally equipped to try to take that risk. People on the inside were trying to take down the pedophile rings. Yet somehow, ever since President Biden got into office, those investigations got shut down. Why?
It's not just there. There's things going on, even in, where, I'm not going to mention it. That's the country. I'll just say it. Fuck it. Ukraine. There's things happening
We're already
there.
getting flagged.
There's things happening there now. I mean, did you see about? Did you read that and see that thing that they're talking about? Where I'm saying this about the Russians. I've actually came across children, mass places where the Ukrainians are basically harvesting children. Did you see that?
Ukrainian officials have indulged in a lot of the same practices that have been seen within the US, the UK, Australia. It's no secret that shit's been happening. And, obviously, you're not going to hear from it from most major news resources. And you go to report shit like that, you can get flagged as a domestic terrorist.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's so fucked up about the world nowadays. You want to save humanity and you want to help humanity, but you're classed as a terrorist. But if you side with the evil ones, you're classed as a hero.
Let's put this into a framework that anybody will pretty much understand, from younger children to older adults. This continued talks of the TikTok ban that keep making circulation. Trying to say, oh, it's an invasion of privacy, blah, 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 blah. It sells their information to the Chinese government, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Facebook does that. Instagram does that. Snapchat is nowhere near as anonymous as people think. You know how many times the FBI has gotten involved to stop incidents because some idiot started posting about it on Snapchat? Shit's not anonymous anymore.
Yeah.
Anybody with skilled enough with computers can easily track down your information, regardless of how many measures you have put into place. And yes, you go against the grain and start, like I said, you play the game of the elites. The elites start coming after you.
Yep.
Simple as that. People don't realize the level of complete and total upheaval that's going to need to take place if we want a true societal reset, for
Of
lack
course,
of a better word.
because they're planning on doing a reset. There's this CBD system that they want to bring in. Is want to get away with radio money and stuff like that. Did you see that? That's quite an interesting thing. Where they're saying that in the next couple of weeks, the dollar, and I'm not saying this, you'll have to do your own research, everybody. They're saying that the dollar is going to collapse.
This goes into the same mentality that, say, you want to have a yard sale, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's officials that try to instill taxes on sales being made at typical everyday yard weekend in the summertime yard sales, just because people are wanting to clear out their things. They don't get that money. They don't like the fact that, even though it literally says on the dollar bill, I don't know about over in the UK, but here in the US,
Mm-hmm.
that these can be used for personal debts, personal interactions.
Yeah.
With electronic tracking, they can see where you go, how much you spent.
Exactly.
They can get a better idea of how much is actually going on. That information will get sold to marketers, to where you'll start seeing more personalized ads on, guess what? Facebook, YouTube.
But here's actually another interesting fact that a lot of people don't think about with the CBD system. Say there's another lockdown in effect, right? And you go out, say you're only allowed 5 miles from your house, you go 6 miles from your house, and you go to use your card and it'll not work because there's a lockdown. A lot of people are saying, oh, that'll not come true. They wouldn't do that.
Well,
They would.
They would have to improve the location features on a phone, because depending on what networks you use, your signal may bounce around all over the place. Say, like, I'm just walking around town and using my 5G. For some reason, the 5G says I'm in fucking Seattle. No, I'm just saying. They're wanting to put that into place. They need to implement that. And a lot of people wonder, it's like, well, how can they put something like that in? They market it, basically. See, like with social media, they realized the reason why social media was pushed so much onto the public, because they realized people are willing to fork over so much of their own personal information.
Yeah.
Just because there's a few benefits.
Yeah. Yeah. Just look at Facebook nowadays. Look how Facebook's changed. It's starting to go down the road of the TikTok route. Have you noticed that? You can do like wee videos and stuff.
Yeah, they started taking away certain features that were meant to attract people from the first TikTok bans while Trump was still in office. Because Facebook has officially paid off legislatures to try to push the bans. Because they don't want to keep up with the competition. They want to monopolize on it.
Yep.
That's why you don't get paid from Facebook videos anymore.
Do you not get paid for it? I did not know that.
Mm-hmm. No, they took away being paid from Reels. Yeah, in order to stay relevant, according to the algorithm, you still got to pump out Reels.
I've noticed they put loads of adverts in the videos now.
Yeah.
Have you? I wonder what society will be like in the next 5 years. Because
we're talking singularity, we're talking complete upheaval. It's going to get chaotic. A storm's coming.
Oh, definitely. The financial system's got to collapse. It's got to get turned into that CBD system. 15-minute cities are coming here. I don't know. You meant to be getting 15-minute cities too?
No. Wouldn't work where I'm at.
Yeah. See, it wouldn't work with I'm at really kind of rural. You know what I mean? But I think it's like George Orwell. I do think it's coming true. It is all coming true.
Like I
You
said,
know?
the only thing that George Orwell got wrong about his book was the year.
Yeah. And I dread to think what it's got to be like in 20 years from now. If we've no blew ourselves up yet. Which, hopefully, nuclear weapons will not get used. Hopefully, our little friends will help with that. But there's still society can break down. Society can still break down. See, a lot of folk don't realise is if America defaults on its money and the dollar collapses overnight, everything will quadruple. It'll cost you like $5 million for like a loaf of bread.
But here's the thing. In order to be able to implement these new systems, because the Federation is supposed to be behind these credit systems that they're trying to implement, in order for better systems to be put in place, the ones that we have now have got to die.
Yeah.
The society collapse that everybody's trying to prevent, unfortunately, it's getting to the point where we have to let it.
Yeah. But it will cause problems. It will cause crime to explode. Right? In America, if the dollar collapses, the crime will go off the scale. And you'll be lucky if your National Guard can protect you.
Because people will be afraid.
I mean, I remember when I did history at the school, and I did a thing about the Russian, it was in Moscow, this is going back to the 1980s, and there was actually a time when the money there collapsed, right? And you know, there was an old woman walking up the street with a wheelbarrow, and in the wheelbarrow it was just money. It was just a big pile of money. Do you know she went into the butcher's to get something? She came back out and somebody left all the money and took the wheelbarrow because the wheelbarrow was worth more.
Sounds about right. Sounds about right.
You know, it's but I think, and hopefully, society will fix itself.
It will.
Eventually. You know? God knows where it'll be.
Measures are being taken in place to try to alleviate the pressure as much as possible, but that will not prevent the storm from coming into place.
I will say this, in the United States there's been some freaky weather lately. Some real freaky weather.
Without a doubt.
Did you see that video that Lisa Fry put out on Facebook? She was driving down the road and all the telegraph poles, every one of them was broken. A tornado taken them out.
Yeah. Dr. Michael Sala, who's actually doing a webinar right now, he tried doing it last night, but the storm systems that were taking place in his area actually took out his power altogether.
Yeah. And if it's global warming, which I don't think it is global warming, I do think the polar ice caps are melting. I'm going to say that now. But I think that the Earth goes through cycles. You know?
There are natural cycles which take place, but unfortunately, human activity has actually progressed those events to take place at much faster rates than I've ever seen before, and which have led to extinction events.
So, Dakota, what do we have planned? Do we have any guests coming on next week, or
Hopefully they come, because next week is supposed to be a real interesting one. Yeah, we're gonna give them shit. They come on here and stir up so much trouble and try to reschedule. And I understand. They're not feeling well.
whereabouts in America they say? Whereabouts in America they say?
Believe they were out of California, if I'm not mistaken.
That's for California. That explains it.
Basically, we had guests initially that was supposed to come on this week, but they're not feeling well, so they had to cancel. That probably be coming up again sometime later, hopefully, so they're not wasting all of our time slots. But we have Paul Dale Roberts coming on the 8th. Former military intelligence, did investigations at Mount Shasta, Area 51. A lot of interesting stories behind this guy, and as well as quite a few books under his belt. So that is going to be a very interesting conversation.
Mount Shasta's, I've always found a very interesting and intriguing place.
Yes.
Who's the
UFOs?
Who's the UFO group? People that are there that you can actually stand in their back garden. They do events, and you can watch the ships coming in and out. Oh God, what is it? It came into my head.
If you're talking about the East, if you're talking about the East City Ranch, that's in Washington.
No, it was something else. It's to do with Mount Shasta.
There's a New Age group around there that does host like UFO watches, because allegedly, and I've heard this from quite a few sources that I've visited there, there's some nights where Mount Shasta will start lighting up like a Christmas tree.
There you go, Dakota. You should go to that location and do an investigation.
Well, here's the thing. Up to the hills. In order to get some of the interesting stuff that we want to bring out to people, we need fucking money.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, donate $1 million to Dakota. I'm sure you would put it to good causes.
Part of the documentary, I would like to have an investigation featured at Mount Shasta. Again, we need the funds. So, if you would like to take part, there's the link to the crowdfunding page. We're gonna make it happen. We're trying to make all of our resources as low cost as possible, but let's face it, not everybody is that generous.
Well, if I had to win the lottery, would put a couple of $1 million into it. It would be the best documentary ever, you know.
That would be good.
I can see the camera crew following you up into the mountain, you know.
I don't think I would go with a full-on camera crew. I think I'd try to do it solo.
But you have to capture when the light comes down and sucks you up into the ship and flees away.
It's called a GoPro on the forehead.
You'll be taken to the city below the mountain. And they'll do
That
strange
would be the
things to you.
goal. That would be the goal.
They'll do
And
strange
you and your
things.
sexual fantasies about this. I'm gonna have to contact HR about you. My God.
I don't know. I'm not, ladies and gentlemen, did that bring up any sexual fantasies? I'm just saying that.
Do strange things? Yeah, you're implying it. You sick fuck.
No, don't do strange things.
Yeah.
They could make you sit down and watch something on their TV. I don't know. The aliens extraterrestrials watch TV.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. They're probably sitting there now watching. They're watching us too, and they're thinking, Jesus Christ, that guy there is the two of them. That specialist strange is a bit strange, isn't it?
That's right there in the title.
You know, but you know, it's been a good night. First night back for a wee while. All my wee germs. Out you go. All my germs. Go and see Dakota.
No, you can stay sick. I think I held my own pretty well.
You done well last night. I will say this, guys, that COVID is a terrible, terrible, terrible thing. It really, really, really. What's that? Oh, thank you, Jody.
Thank you, Jody.
I will say that COVID is a terrible thing, and I hope to God you never experience it, Dakota.
Yeah.
You know?
Death can have me when it earns me.
You better watch it about Mount Shasta, and Bigfoot will jump out from a bush.
That's not the first time I've had that happen.
What?
Bigfoot jumping out of the bush? There's a tribe not too far from me.
Oh, is that the one with you pinched your Snickers bar?
Possibly related, but no.
Honestly, if I lived near you and I found out you were leaving Snickers bars lying about, I'd be running about eating Snickers bars.
Dude.
What?
A Sasquatch was called into emergency services not too long ago.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Not too far from me.
And what did they say?
It was just stuck in a farmhouse. So far, no missing animals. But
see, that's what was happening with Mike. They were all running about his farm, weren't they? I mean, that was...
Yeah, but the tribes over that way tend to be known to be a lot more violent.
I wonder something I've always wondered about the old Bigfoot.
What?
Why has nobody ever caught one alive?
Because they're smart as fuck.
But see, this is the thing, right? It's surely to God with today's technology, drones and other kind of things, you could probably catch one. You know?
They have been caught on drone before. Emotion code.
Which I'm just reading that there. I do emotion code cleaning. It's interesting, Judy.
Hey, that's your call, man. You're the one that's sick.
What is that exactly? Is that like a... What is that? I don't know about this kind of stuff. Kind of thing. Motion code cleansing. Aye, knock yourself out, aye. On you go. Do what you want.
Be careful what you find. Trust me.
Aye. Oh, God, I honestly don't know. Oh, you know?
Oh god, it wouldn't be Bald and Bonkers without us ripping on each other.
I know it wouldn't it, but you being Canadian and all, you know, I mean,
Again, how the hell am I Canadian?
you do
I'm much
have a bit
better
of
looking.
Canadian, you do look kind of Canadian.
How?
You know, but is it, I tap
Oh, you
into your
compare me to Brian?
subconscious
Just
and
because of a bald head?
I tap into your subconscious and clear emotions that may be in your way. It's so easy. Oh, right, thank you very much, Joe Dillon. Thank you. Tap away into me.
Uh, oh god, you're gonna send that poor woman into a heart attack.
Just beware. Just beware what you come across inside my head. That's what I'm going to say. Dakota's
I can vouch that. I can vouch that. The types
just
of fantasies he likes to describe to me. My
well.
god. Like I
You
said,
should see the
I'm
fans.
I'm
He's
I'm
got a thing about
I'm gonna.
Phantom of the Opera, ladies and gentlemen. Where's your mask? Where's your Phantom of the Opera mask? Come on,
Which
go and
one?
get that. Oh, you went and
All
bought me?
right, hold on.
Where do you see this?
I have two.
I'll do it now. I feel the vibrations up, mint it.
Good vibrations. Oh. Good old Marky Mark.
Now, wait till you see this, ladies and gentlemen. He's got himself a special mask.
Okay, I'm not finding it. You're not gonna get
Tch,
to live out your fantasy seeing me in a mask.
what do you mean, seeing you in the mask is? You know, I'm just waiting until he finds his
I had to
mask,
move a
ladies and
bunch of shit
gentlemen.
around so I can sell some stuff. Trying to put money aside so I can go to Orlando this October.
Will you be taking your mask that night?
No, I don't want it to get crushed in my carry-on.
You can take a suitcase with you.
Yeah, because I'd be in town for a few days. I'm gonna need clothes to change into because Florida gets kind of hot.
All you need is a Caribbean shirt, a straw hat, and a pair of flip flops.
Unfortunately, flip-flops are the only shoes that are most readily available in my size.
I will say this. I'll tell you what. See the clogs. Have you ever tried the clogs? They're really, really good.
Clogs.
Clogs.
Oh dear lord.
What?
Again, ladies and gentlemen, if you ever happen to hear voices in the background and while watching one of our videos, please do give us a timestamp so we know where to look.
It's the aliens. They're coming to take us away. No.
Unless you got someone who's a fucking loudmouth in your house right now. I've been hearing things for a while.
I can't hear anything.
Well, you're also plugged up in the head. Arc Dark Knight, hello. And of course, people start coming in right as we're getting ready to shut down.
Hello, Dark Knight. What's it, Jodie Lynch? You guys are so funny.
Well, we live up to the Bald and Bonkers name.
Can you do that? Stick your that.
Okay, I think we might need to actually end the show because he's starting to go off the deep end. Who knows? I may start to put out my own shows so that way I can actually put out my thoughts and not have him interrupt me. And I disappear.
See, that's the aliens. That's it. Well done. Great. That's it. It's the aliens. Oh my god.
It's like, I love I went to try to point at you and all of a sudden my head disappeared.
See, that's the space-time continuum.
I'm heading back into my other body. That one has better hair.
Ken, I would die laughing if I had to wake up in the pod and you were reincarnated into your old body and you were actually a blob with 5 eyeballs? I would die laughing.
Actually, I have a photo of what I looked like.
Oh, Jodie Lynch, I cleared 15 emotions so that you will avoid COVID in the future. Thank you very much.
That's good because he's been kind of a wimp this entire time.
Where?
My own mother asked me if I should ask him if he's sending me plane tickets so I can go see him in Scotland for his funeral. My mother. That he's tried
That's
hitting
terrible.
on.
Oh, she's a good looking woman. What?
Now I know you're sick.
Wait, that's terrible, speaking about your mother that way. That is terrible. You know, if I was your mother, oh, she's going to get you for that, you know. Well, thank you very much, Jodie, for that. I had a migraine. It's not as bad now. It's a wee bit better.
I think you just need to get a good masseuse.
Is that what you do?
What do you
What's that
make
there?
of anything of white orbs I can see with my eyes coming and going around the sun? Well, that's actually an interesting question. Now, I've actually seen something similar, to be completely honest. Hopefully he's not just staring directly into the sun and burning out the eye floaters.
That's what I was just about to say. You need to be very careful.
Careful
be
how
very-
you do it, but there has been weird anomalies around the sun lately. It almost makes you wonder. With some of these anomalies, they honestly look like how you would expect giant spaceships, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if they're trying to block out some of the solar flares that were supposed to be able to wipe us out, send us back to the Stone Age?
Was there no big solar flare was meant to hit the other day, but it missed the Earth?
Yeah, there's quite a few that happens, actually. No, I cover the sun, but I can see them a lot. Well, if you get yourself a good lens for a camera or a telescope and get some photos, we'd love to see them there. And actually send us a photo, not a picture of the screen of the camera. Otherwise, people may start freaking out at a long hair when you just have cats in the house.
Oh my god.
And you know who I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Don't get me wrong. He's a good guy, and he's found some interesting stuff, but I'm still convinced that was a cat hair.
His cat
know,
has
because
gone where
I
no other
have
cat
cats.
has gone before.
Oh, that opens up so many jokes. But when it's getting to be about time, we should probably close it, so he can finish getting better. And I do have to work tonight, so I'll try. I'm such a novice. Well, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah. Right. Thank you, everybody, for coming, and everybody in the chat, Jodie included. Thank you for everything, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning into the Bald and Bonkers Show. If you enjoyed the show and want to show your support, head over to our website at baldandbonkers.net. There, you'll find our merch, services, and more. Thanks for being part of the Bald and Bonkers family, and we'll see you on the next episode. And remember, always keep an open mind and an open heart. You never know what may happen tomorrow.
Why did you